US President Joe Biden has just reiterated his position on a two-state solution, together with a vision of a more stable Middle East. Let's take a listen.
A groundbreaking effort we announced at the G20 to connect India to Europe through the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel will spur opportunities and investment across two continents. This is part of our effort to build a more sustainable, integrated Middle East. It demonstrates how Israel's greater normalization and economic connection with its neighbors is delivering positive and practical impacts, even as we continue to work tirelessly to support a just and lasting peace between the Israelis and Palestinians, and two states for two people. Now, let me be clear. None of these partnerships are about containing any country. They're about a positive vision for our shared future.
This is US President Owen Alterman, I-24 News correspondent, is here. Owen, no big surprises from Biden on the Middle East, but the main message would be a message to Israel these days.
That's right, and that is a big story, Jacob. Look, I think a lot of people in Israel are going to be parsing the words on two states or two peoples, right? And looking at what exactly Joe Biden said about Israeli-Saudi normalization, or about Iran, or this or that. It's important to do all of that, but that's not the big story. The big story here is Israel is part of the US grand strategy on China. There's a reason for the US-Israel relationship in the 21st century, right? If we thought it was about the Cold War decades ago, if it was about common values and all of the platitudes, no, it's about realpolitik. The United States needs to win over poor countries in order to beat China. And in order to do that, Joe Biden is offering them a package, and that package was the dominant part of this speech, right? He wants to help them solve their problems. And one of the problems poor countries have, Jacob, is infrastructure and getting their goods to markets in richer countries. And Israel's on that route. Israel's on the way from India to Europe. Israel's on the way from Southeast Asia to Europe, for that matter, even from parts of Africa to Europe, even potentially. Israel's on the way. And because Israel's on the way, Israel matters to that strategy for the United States. And it's not by accident. You know, there's a Talmudic way of commentary on the Torah of looking at what items are next to each other, right? And we just saw it. The Israel item was next to the China item. And it's not by accident, it's not by coincidence, it's by design. And Israel is part of the American grand strategy on China. The United States needs Israel. Of course, this is something that not only Benjamin Netanyahu will like, although he will like it, but I think it will be welcome to all Israelis. There's a strategic rationale for the relationship, could pay big dividends for Israel. Of course, if Israel knows how to take advantage of it. For that matter, if the United States knows how to broker the deals in the Middle East that will maximize taking advantage of it. But even without those, Biden's message was, you Israelis are part of my grand plan for how to beat China.
All right. And later this evening, Erdogan of Turkey is going to meet Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu for the first time in 8 years. This is significant.
Yeah, transport yourself back 5 years ago, Jacob, and tell yourself of 2018 that Benjamin Netanyahu was going to be meeting with Recep Tayyip Erdogan, presumably shaking hands. I think we would have been quite surprised. Obviously, the rapprochement between Israel and Turkey has made enough progress that a meeting like this is not even a huge surprise to any of us, right? Netanyahu had been planning to visit Turkey in July, but couldn't for health reasons. So now this meeting is happening on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, on the back of Netanyahu's trilateral meeting with the Cypriot and Greek leaders, of course, trying to preserve that careful balance in the Eastern Mediterranean between the two. Of course, there are some concrete decisions ahead about how gas is going to get from the seabed of the Mediterranean Sea, and part of that in Israel's economic waters, to markets in Europe. Is that going to somehow go through a Cypriot and Greek route? Is it going to go through a Turkish route? Both sides are vying for the route that will be picked, and Israel's going to have to make hard decisions, as Benjamin Netanyahu has said. I'm sure that will be a topic of discussion, but I think we can all celebrate the fact, Jacob, that Israel's in the position of having to make this balance, that Israel has such good ties with both sides of that conflict in the Eastern Mediterranean, and that this meeting is going forward between the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of Turkey.
All right, Owen, thank you very much.